some trouble tracking the deep ball in the air consistently. Because then someone will show me a highlight of him doing it. I'm like, dude, I understand that. And there's a lot of the contested catches that just hit the floor. So I guess if you're telling me like Odunze or Bowers, I would just take Odunze. Now, if you trade down, whatever, you trade down to 18, I don't know. I don't think they would. And Bowers is there, and it's like Bowers or Brian Thomas Jr. or Tyler Guyton. Yeah, I'd take Bowers. So it's not a slight, it's not an insult to Brock Bowers to say like Olu Fashanu and Rome Odunze are better than him. Those guys are awesome prospects too, that play positions that are just at a higher premium in the NFL, that get paid more, and that have a higher hit rate typically when you take them early on. Super chat. Dean, what's up, man? Appreciate that, brother. Man, yeah, that's crazy to me, man. I was talking to my wife about this yesterday. I'm like, can you believe, like, I think Mike D dropped like $70 in super chats. I'm like, this dude I never even met. He's just like, here's $70 for talking about the freaking Jets. Like, that's crazy, man. This is what a time to be alive. Speaking of, hey man, I think we got a partner here joining the chat. It's been a while. I never know how to do the grand intros, but you guys know him from Wicker Sports. We got Watu hanging out with us. Let me get my headphones in, brother. I'll bring you in. Let's see. I'll get his take on this super chat. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Buffalo Jets fan. You're right. I haven't been on with you a long time, but yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, no problem. I've been a loner. I got to get back to the collaboration. So I'll kick this super chat to you, man. Dean says, think about playoff football. The Jets roster, if healthy, will match up extremely well. Miami and Ravens are powder puffs in the playoffs. No one will want the Jets in January if healthy. So this kind of coincides with the theme of this stream. You see the title, are the Jets contenders in 2024? So like, what's your temperature check? Because I think we all agreed yes last year. My opinion hasn't changed too drastically. I'm more down on the coaching staff than I was last year. I'm more down on JD, although he changed my mind one move at a time. I think they've had a really good free agency. But my answer was yes, and my criteria was, could I see them winning a playoff game? Not making the Super Bowl, not winning the Super Bowl. Could I see them being one of the 7 teams that get in and then win one playoff game? And I do believe with the investments they made on offense with Rodgers and with the defense of the special teams, I do think that they are capable of doing that. Am I overrating, underrating the team? Where are you at?
So much to respond to between the super chat and the comments that you just made, but I'll touch on a little bit of it. If I had to think about right now where we are on March 23rd, 2024, still 5.5 months out from the start of the regular season. So a lot is going to still change between now and then, between the draft, between signings, between injuries. Who knows who might get in trouble? Half the battle is just getting in. Hey, David, yes, I'm not only on the air at 10 p.m. at night and later, contrary to popular belief. But, yeah, I think that there is no reason the Jets should not be in the playoffs. I felt the same way going into last year, but I thought they would be kind of at the bottom because I felt it would take some time to get everything kind of going together. I figured Aaron Rodgers might miss a few games. Little did we know what would wind up happening. But you know, I feel like the playoffs in most sports nowadays is just get in healthy, and anything can happen. I feel like home field, home ice, home court, whatever the case may be, means less than it ever has. Look at the Chiefs. Now, of course, they have a winning pedigree. They know what to do, when they're in that spot. But there were a lot of questions. Can Patrick Mahomes win a playoff game on the road? He never had to do it before, and he and his team definitely passed that test with flying colors. I do want to mention, but it's interesting that Dean says this because, Miami and the Ravens are like opposite styles, in terms of how they play. Yeah, the quarterbacks both have mobility, no doubt about that, but Miami has the receivers, I see Baltimore's more of a smash mouth team, better special teams, much better defense. But the Ravens have had some rough losses in the playoffs for various reasons. But certainly I'd rather see Miami in the playoffs than Baltimore. We're going to see what winds up happening, but there is still more depth to acquire, but that is par for the course. You absolutely expect that. Dana, I'm not a vampire. I love garlic. I can I have anything but that.
There you go.
But we're going to have to see as far as go ahead. It's okay.
No, you just froze for a second.
Point here. Oh, okay.
You're good now. Yeah, go ahead.
The laptop. The one other thing I will say, I have questions about the coaching staff, and I am more down on it than I was last year. But we still don't know what this coaching staff is going to do in a big spot. Does Robert Saleh know when to call a timeout, not call a timeout, when to go for it, when to be conservative, when to kick the field goal, when to not kick the field goal? We've seen indications of both. Know when to challenge, know when to not challenge. Because sometimes it's better to know what not to do as is to know what to do. That is the biggest question that we are going to have to deal with because he has still never coached in a playoff game. So, Saleh's the biggest thing, but as the way I would sum up the roster, we'll get more into it. I was willing to take a step back on defense, to take a step or two forward on offense. And to me, that is what we are seeing so far. We lost Bryce Huff. We have not replaced him. Everything else is pretty much where it is. It hasn't really changed all that much, but you are seeing some serious steps forward on offense, and that's a trade-off I was willing to make.
I completely agree, and I think when you look at this, it's tough because it feels like we have so far to go. When you look at like some of the final scores of last year of like getting blown out by whatever 30-0 against Miami with our season on the line, but it really was just like a few crucial areas of the team that were really bad: offensive line, quarterback, and then offensive coordinator, I would put as the top three. And I still think head coach, like I said at the top of the stream, I can't make an argument that Robert Saleh is an above average head coach at this point in his career. We'll see what he does, but we can't really say that at this point. You'd have to put him in the below average category at best. But going from the average of Tim Boyle to Trevor Siemian and Zach Wilson, and I know people get all bent out of shape with Zach, and it's like, guys, look, we played. Tim Boyle played 2.5 games as a literal CFL level quarterback playing 2.5 games. And when other teams like Mason Rudolph goes out there for the Steelers and goes 3-0, and he would have like the best stats of any Jets quarterback of the past 6 years. So them going 3-0 with him and us going, whatever 0-3 with Boyle, that could be that right there is you're talking about a 2-game swing for a team that won 7 games. So that alone plus offensive line. I mean, offensive line, I really didn't think they would be able to get 3 new starters before the draft. And obviously we know Tyron's good when he plays. We know who Morgan Moses is. I'm telling you, the more I watch John Simpson, I really like Simpson too. He might be dollar for dollar. He might be my favorite value signing so far just because he's in his prime and he's durable and he plays like an asshole. And we need a little bit of an identity with this team up front. How are you? What's your confidence level on the offensive line? Do you still want to go offensive line at 10, or are you maybe leaning another direction now that we made these investments?
I don't have one player that I'm 100% sold. This is the player we need to get. I would move up for Marvin Harrison because I believe he is far and away the best player at his position in the draft. I am not willing to move up for Malik Neighbors. Very good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't see him as that.
What if it was just pick 72? Would you give up pick 72 to go up and get Neighbors?
No, Neighbors, no. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think this draft is so deep in wide receiver. In fact, one of the things I am going to do later on today, I've got about 7 or 8 more receivers that I'm looking at because I didn't really think initially I was looking at 3rd, 4th round and absolute top of the draft. But this class is so deep, and there are guys even in the 3rd round that I think can be absolutely excellent, especially for this offense with what they need right now. Go watch guys that people don't even talk about, the Malachi Corleys, the Jalen McMillan. Malik Washington is getting a little bit of love.
Yeah, people are catching on to him.
They are. We got to stop hyping these guys up because I think that's why we lose the chance of drafting them, right? But yeah, I am super excited about like rounds 1 through like 4 with what you could get at wide receiver. And again, Aaron Rodgers, as good as he is going to elevate any receiver, any tight end. He is going to make them just a little bit better than they were before. I mean, I'll give you one example of a free agent that I would actually still look at, and I get some blowback for this from some people. It's okay, but DJ Chark has been a steadily productive wide receiver. And last year, he was actually good with Carolina, with as bad an offensive line as there was outside of the Jets, with as bad a quarterbacking situation as they're on the level of the Jets too. You put Aaron Rodgers in, these guys are going to start to get elevated. But it all comes down to the offensive line, like you said. Now, we look at the depth behind, because, I mean, if we have the 5 starters that we know of, if that's what we're dealing with, fantastic. Let's go. We're going to maul some people over. But Moses and Smith, as we know, are on 1-year contracts.
Right.
So you need that depth. And I've got more confidence that I could get a playmaker later in the draft that I can tackle. So if it came down to, say, Fashanu and Odunze, I'd probably lean Fashanu because I think the left tackle is going to be more elusive to get. That's just a for instance. Harrison, to me, would be the exception. I like Odunze pretty much on the same level as Neighbors. If we get Brian Thomas, want to trade down for a Brian Thomas, cool. I'm fine with it. There's other guys I like a little bit lower, like an Xavier Leggett. I like him a lot. But my preference, if it comes down to tackle or playmaker, I'm going tackle. Because if you don't have the foundation of the line, it makes it that much harder for a receiver to make a play.
Yeah, oh man, I agree with you. I'm not married to one guy because there's a lot of that, like on Jet social media. Like it has to be Bowers, it can't be Bowers. It has to be O-line, it can't be O-line. Has to be Odunze. You got to trade up and get this guy. No, you have to trade back. And I think if we come away with a really good offensive player, I'm going to be excited about it. You mentioned DJ Chark. Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind them double dipping a veteran receiver. Now, Tyler Boyd maybe is a little bit going to be out of their price range just because he's still like a starting caliber receiver. Another team might still view him as maybe a wide receiver 2 potential.
Yeah.
But DJ Chark last year, in 15 games, 525 yards and 5 touchdowns in a offense that was at times like on par with as bad as ours. So, I mean, if Mike Williams can't start the season, has to miss the first 2 or 3 games, I'd probably rather DJ Chark than Allen Lazard, to be honest, because at least he gives you some speed. I know he has like the drop issues too, but at least he gives you a vertical threat. So he
averages like 3 drops a year. When I looked at the drop stats, I did a video on this morning. He only averages about 3 drops a season. Really looking at his overall pick, it's really not as bad as people make it out to be.
Yeah, I'm looking at his catch percentage is pretty good. His contested catch rate is a little low, but his yards per reception are for the last 2 years 16 yards per catch. So he's like when he's catching passes, he's making significant plays. So yeah, if it's DJ Chark or like whatever Jason Brownlee and Allen Lazard, I'd probably rather throw him out there. I think people get so caught up like, no, that guy sucks. And it's like compared to what? Like we had Randall Cobb and Mecole Hardman and like UDFAs running around last year as our depth. So he's an upgrade. I mean, I would even Odell's probably going to be off of our hands. I mean, the wide receiver market's pretty. I like Josh Reynolds too.
That's not a bad idea
from Detroit.
I don't know. Not a bad idea. Somebody hasn't taken him yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's been. I don't know. I think he kind of. He's again better than Allen Lazard. I hate to sound like a hater, but I just think that's the criteria of a guy who could come in and be a starter in 11 personnel. Is there any other spot in free agency that you're looking to that you're hoping that we address? Are you on the Clowney train?
You know what? Yeah, I'm as far as an edge rusher, yes. Clowney to me is the way to go. I think they need to bring in another safety because right now it's Adams and it's Clark. I think you still need to bring in 2 safeties, and I think one of them should be in the draft because I think you could get some good safeties a little bit later on. But it might just be resigning Ashton Davis, and if that's what they do, then that's fine. I would have looked at, say, a Julian Blackmon from the Colts. He's still out there. He's only 25 years old, but he's met recently with both the 49ers and the Bills this week, and those 2 teams have a dire need at safety. So the Bills losing Hyde and Poyer, and the Niners have not re-signed to Sean Gibson yet. So I would look in that direction, but I think one of the positions to address is safety. A little bit later on. Running back is kind of a tricky one. Dante Foreman was the guy I wanted all along, but he signed with Cleveland this week. A little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. You could still get, I don't know, you could get a Kareem Hunt. You could get a Damian Harris. If you want more of a pass-catching threat, Jerick McKinnon is still out there. He is a little bit older, but he's never been that bell cow running back, so he doesn't have as much wear and tear on him as some of these other guys do, like a Rashad Penny, for instance. Cam Akers is still hurt. J.K. Dobbins, I know we love J.K. Dobbins, but I'll tell you what, the idea of him, of what he could have been, but even in his prime, he wasn't one to, really break tackles or anything like that. I think Dobbins was really the beneficiary of an amazing Ravens blocking offensive line. So Dobbins, I'd be a little bit worried about it, but I would definitely, they need to bring in another one. When you have Breece and Izzy, I would like a running back with more experience. If they were to go draft a guy like an Audric Estime or a Braylon Allen, I would really like one of those two because they are bulldozers. I think they're a nice complement to what Breece brings with the speed, the agility, and everything that he brings to the table. But Buffalo, remember, we were not bad last year. When it came to third down and red zone, our offense was historically bad, as in worse in the last 30, 40 years of the NFL. That's got to start changing. Now, I think we did a lot with the red zone by bringing in Mike Williams, Aaron Rodgers being back will help. But I'd like to see a better option at running back, somebody who can bowl a defensive lineman over. And like an Estime or an Allen can do that. Running as far as the free agents right now, if Kareem Hunt has anything left in the tank, I'd give him a cheap contract, see if he bites at it. I'd give him a shot. He's still not even 30 years old, which is amazing. I feel like Kareem Hunt's been in the league for 10 years, but he's still relatively young. So
why not? Running back too is like as long as you don't, we're talking about $3 million for a guy like Kareem Hunt. He's always been a pretty good receiving back. He doesn't have a crazy amount of carries because he was behind Nick Chubb for all those years. So running backs age and touches almost as much as carries. Remember, DeMarco Murray was done when he was like 26 because they gave him the ball like 500 times that one year, and that was kind of it. Safety, I'm pretty resigned to them not to me, like Justin Simmons is not happening. Like a player of that level, it'd be awesome. I just don't think they're ever going to make that kind of investment at safety. I don't think they prioritize that. I think they're going to go for a guy like Clowney, and they're going to go the cheaper route at safety. And then offensive line depth would probably be my next place to look if after safety, running back 2, and then wide receiver, because right now the backups are Schweitzer on the interior,
Jake Hansen, and then
Warren and Mitchell. Yeah, we got to do better there. I would say. I think you got to add at least one veteran. What about, can David Bakhtiari and Tyron Smith tag team together 17 games somehow of all pro caliber play between the two of them?
Is David Bakhtiari willing to be a tag team left tackle?
I think he retires, man.
I don't
he does
know.
that.
Whenever he plays, he's fantastic. So there cannot be any denying that. But 5 knee surgeries on the same knee in 3 years, it has to scare the crap out of you. So, I think it'd be a situation where they would say, go out, see what you can find, but we'll be here. If you're willing to come in here, take a role, you might be
I think after the draft.
You'll be here or there.
And that'll happen.
Say again?
I think it'll be after the draft kind of thing with him.
I think that's very possible. But you look at who's available right now. I mean, who's the most exciting? Like Charles Leno, like Washington released him at left tackle. I mean,
Donovan Smith.
I know I was about to get to Donovan Smith as well. Hey, we can always bring back Billy Turner.
Oh my gosh. Dwayne Brown.
Chuma Edoga's a free agent. You want another round with Chuma Edoga? It's amazing how many ex-Jet offensive linemen are free agents right now. Yeah, Becton, Brown, Turner, Edoga. That's just the tackles. Connor McGovern at center, though he's pretty good.
Yeah, I would bring back McGovern as a backup.
Yeah, if he's willing. I'd do it.
I think him and Schweitzer are fine backup interior offensive linemen, but I would like to try and get, I don't know, I would even be, if there's a team that would take like a 6th round pick for a quality swing tackle, like a James Hurst or even Kelvin Beachum, maybe more of a 7th rounder at this point in his career. But I view it as that much of a priority, because then if you don't go offensive lineman at pick 10, then okay, maybe you go offensive lineman at pick 72. Then you're saying, all right, if Tyron Smith misses his average of whatever 8-9 games, it's either rookie Mr. pick 72, Carter Warren, or Max Mitchell for half a season. That makes me nervous. And now at the same token, you have to be able to get players who can play in the mid rounds eventually. So on one hand, between Carter Warren, Max Mitchell and pick 72, 3 guys who were taken in the 3rd or 4th round and they were year 1, 2, 3 respectively. One of those guys should be able to play, but you don't want to bank on that, man. I don't know.
Certain positions we've developed well in the mid rounds, particularly in the secondary. Defensive line, those types of guys, it's worked out with pretty well. Yep. But offensive line, that has not happened. And I think a lot of times actually does come down to coaching. And how well are we developing these players? How well are we scouting these players before we even get them into the building? What is the process? What are we doing well, say, at cornerback, for instance, that we're not doing correctly with offensive line when it comes to these deeper picks? Is it the scouts? Is it the coaches? Is it the combination? It's got to be a whole bunch of those things. But here's the thing. Joe Douglas is an offensive lineman. He's always been an offensive lineman. That's what he was in Richmond, in college. So if there's a position he should know, that's it. So to me, I still come back to, I'm like, I just question the coaching, and some of that as well. But it's like, I mean, Warren dealt with an injury issue, in his senior year of college. So him, it's like, okay, fine. Let's see what happens. He's had 1 year. I wonder if Max Mitchell got messed up because of the blood clots. I don't know what he would have been anyway. Maybe he's more suited to be a guard, but I wonder if he's now going to be able to put the weight on that they wanted him to. Because remember, he wasn't supposed to play his rookie season. Carter Warren wasn't supposed to play this season.
Right.
These guys are getting like trigonometry when they can barely do algebra. So,
yeah, Carter or Max Mitchell to me looked worse this past year than his rookie year. I don't know. So that's like when young players are like backed into, I know there's an injury factor there too, but when young players are regressing, it's hard not to look at it as a referendum on coaching. Like it's like, what's more likely? Joe Douglas only knows how to get good defensive players and can't get offensive players, or there's a huge dichotomy in our ability to coach and develop on offense and defense. I think the latter is probably more interesting or more likely.
Well, when you're doing that with the worst quarterback play and the offensive line just keeps getting injured, I mean, it's going to make your running backs and wide receivers and tight ends look that much worse. So that I think that definitely has a lot to do with it. Oh, hey, Billy SBC, just why hasn't McGovern? That market's been a little bit slower moving. I'll tell you another one who hasn't signed, another center who I thought would have been signed by now. It's coming off an injury. Is Connor Williams of the Dolphins. He still does not have a contract, and he's only 26 years old. So it's not to say that there's a problem with his rehab, but I think, certain markets are moving faster than others. And I think McGovern's going to be one of those depth pieces when he waits for the right move, probably after the draft, like Buffalo alluded to. Certain guys are going to sign afterwards. I still think Zach Wilson will get moved, but it's not going to be until into the summertime, around training camp. Maybe if a quarterback on some other team goes down, they get desperate. So, but I don't think you're going to see anything happen with Zach until after the draft. Because again, if you cut him, you're taking the $11 million hit. It doesn't matter if you do it tomorrow. It doesn't matter if you do it the day before the roster cut down to 53 players. It makes no difference. So you can hold on to him, and there's really nothing to. The only thing it would appease is us crazy Jets fans who just demand our pound of flesh and just want the presence out of the room. But I can see something happening later on if a quarterback goes down and somebody's like, okay, we'll give you a 2025 conditional 7 that can become a 6 for him. That's what I think that is going to happen. I think something will happen, but it's not going to be until training camp. So that's like one of my bold predictions for the offseason.
The hot takes rolling in from Wa2K. On paper, the Jets have the best offense.
Everybody else is saying, right?
What's up, Wild Wave? What's going on, dude?
Wow, Wave.
Eddie says Mitchell played really well his first year.
Hey, Mo.
Better rookie year than Evan Neal. Well, I don't know if Evan Neal is the bar we're shooting for, but I hear you. Yeah, he seemed to regress. We got another gentleman joining the chat. What's up, Gunny? Gunny's got the best backdrop of any Jets content creator, man. I would feel like you're about to make some like hardcore alpha male content. Like you're just gonna be back there like you're deadlifting, do some whiskey and cigars, telling me to get my life together.
Whiskey and cigars should be the name of his weekly show if he has one.
Yeah. Some hardcore motivation.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I'm on with you for like a 4-day span. Man, what's going on here?
How you guys doing today?
Good, good.
All right.
We're talking about the
Living that dream.
Jets. Now that you're done making your Jordan Peterson, the David Goggins videos over there with your setup. So what's your dude? It's been like, man, I don't even know when the last time I
It's
talked
been
to
a
you.
while, bro.
It's
like,
crazy.
I mean, we chat obviously in the group chat, but like in terms of a conversation, it's been a while.
You good? How's the family, man?
They're doing
Good?
good, man. They're doing good.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's happy. They're healthy. That's always a good thing. How about you and yours? How yours doing?
Oh, we're good. We're good. The little one's starting to waddle around now, so you know
Yeah,
they're chasing her
it's
around
exciting.
now. Yeah. So what's your temperature check on the Jets, man? I know you were on with Jake Asman. It was kind of a similar topic, right? I think you guys
Yeah.
talked about if the Jets close the gap. I haven't got a chance to listen to that one yet, but what'd you say to Jake?
Yeah, man. I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm actually kind of surprised that before the draft we were able to go ahead and fill such major holes on our roster, not just with great talent, but so efficiently as well in terms of cost. I think the overall cost of the 3 new offensive linemen and our new wide receiver 2 is roughly $23 million fully guaranteed, and that to me was just mind-boggling when you look at the uptick in value in terms of talent that the Jets roster currently has. So I'm thoroughly impressed, man. I'm thoroughly impressed. I know there's some fear factor out there in regards to the health of a Tyron Smith and this hyperbole of the health of a Mike Williams. Not sure where that one came from for a guy that averages 14 games a season, but I digress. But the Tyron Smith one, there's some legitimate concerns there. But for me, man, I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm happy with where we're at. I think we've definitively closed the gap as you're watching the Dolphins lose key pieces on their defense.
Yeah.
You're watching the Bills lose key pieces on their defense. These guys have to take a step back right now. And, well, the Patriots are still the Patriots right now, but not the ones of old, but the ones of new. The Jets definitely took a step forward. I still believe the way to winning the division is through Buffalo. Obviously, Josh Allen has made that the norm over the last several years. But I think pound for pound, the Jets have the best roster in the division. The biggest competitor we have to worry ourselves with is injury.
I like it.
It's very possible. I've actually said, there's one big acquisition the Jets still have to make. Its name is natural grass.
That would help a lot.
And that's going to happen. But I got to tell you, you mentioned some of the different division teams. So, like on my show, I went around the AFC East, took a look at who they gained, who they kept, who they lost, and try to figure out, who was making progress and who wasn't. And what amazed me most was that the Patriots, they came into this offseason with the second most cap space in the NFL.
Yep.
And all they really did was they kept who they had. But what was their biggest addition from outside? Jacoby Brissett?
Possibly. And it's crazy because they made attempts. People are saying like, oh, they're being strategic and they're doing it right. That's not true. They were in the conversation.
They're supposed to be getting Ridley. Yeah, that was like
Yep,
the big
they were
one.
in the conversation for some big name guys. They just couldn't close the door.
Well, did KJ Osborne die? KJ Osborne slander is crazy right now.
KJ Osborne's got like a cult going
They
on.
love
This is the most
mid-receivers,
loyal
man.
cult I've ever
They
seen.
do.
I don't know what happened
They
there.
do.
Yeah, they are, man. It's nice to have them not be in the conversation. Although I think they did objectively get better at quarterback, right? Brissett
this
is
is
better,
true. With
better
Jacoby
than
Brissett.
Mac Jones. And,
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll draft one too, but we'll see how that goes. All I'm saying is I expected more from outside for the
With
Patriots.
all the cap
I expected
space,
a wide
yeah.
receiver that was actually going to make us a little bit nervous, but they kept Henry, Onwenu, one or two other guys. Kyle Duggar, they gave him a transition tag. That was it. I mean,
No, I think people are just going to really. We already kind of know this, but I think it was just really that whole dynasty was like
Tom
80% Tom Brady.
Yep.
And it's going to
and
be
the
and like
offensive line that always blocked, and the defense that was really, really good had a lot of Hall of Famers on it. But saying that.
right. Well, the second iteration of the dynasty was very Tom Brady driven. The first part, the first three, I think were more like great defense and Belichick really being in his prime. But the last decade of it was Tom Brady. Now they're going to go back to being, because now it's rookie Gerard Mayo, and even if they get a quarterback, okay, rookie Gerard Mayo and first year Drake May. I'm sorry, I'm not shaking in my boots over that. With their roster.
Yep. Zero fear. And like you said, it's nice for them to be the non-existent or the non-exempt when it comes to the AFC East conversations. Because before they were the conversation, the rest of us are just trying to go ahead and stay afloat. So it's a nice change of pace to see the
Anytime I see somebody with
Patriots.
like a Patriot hat or a Patriot shirt, and being in Virginia, in the military
see
area
them a
where
bit.
I am right now, you get people from all over the country. Every time I see one, I just want to be like, can you name 5 Patriots that played before the year 2000? Can you name any of them? Like, and I saw this random person with a Chiefs shirt on. I'm like, name 5 Chiefs that played before the year 2015.
They can't tell you.
Exactly.
They can't tell you.
They don't know about Priest Holmes.
They don't know about
They have
Priest
no
Holmes,
no clue who that is.
Buck Buchanan, Len Dawson, Derek Thomas, rest his soul.
Trent Green. Who was that really good kick returner they had?
Dante Hall.
Dante,
Yeah,
yep.
he was fun.
So good. The joystick.
He was fun, man.
He was fun. Him and
incredible.
Devin Hester, probably the two.
Devin
I'm
Hester
very
was
happy
pretty
actually
good.
Hester
Devin
made
Hester
the
was-
Hall of Fame.
Off hand, yep.
Yeah, Hester was the best. I mean, I lived in Chicago during his whole time, and even not that I'm a Bears rooter by any stretch, but yeah, I would watch him. I'm like in the sports bar watching the Jets, but if he was returning a kick, it didn't matter what the Jets were doing. I had to see with Devin Hester if he was going to take one back because it could happen like back.
His
before
opening
special
kickoff
teams.
in the Super Bowl was one of the best Super Bowl memories. That was
That was great.
crazy. Just as a football fan, that was crazy.
Back when special teams mattered.
Hey, we got to bring back some special teams now. I got to bring back Justin Hardy, Ashton Davis, Gunny. Who you like in the draft? If you do you hate or love Brock Bowers? Do you wish Brock Bowers was one of your adopted children, or do you hate his guts? Those are the only two options.
You are the father.
If you're forcing me to pick one of those, then I hate Brock Bowers. I'm gonna go with hate Brock Bowers.
You don't like him at 10? Why?
No, I don't like him at 10, man. I don't see it. I mean, I know a lot of people are excited about the numbers he's put up, the video game numbers he's put up. This is a guy who's 6'3", 235 pounds at his pro day weigh-in, so he wasn't the 240, 6'4" they were telling us he was. This is a guy who took advantage of slower linebackers and smaller safeties in college. At the NFL level, he will not have that same ability to go ahead and take advantage of those guys because they're faster at the linebacker position and they're bigger at the safety position. I just don't know what he did well in college is going to actually translate because of the simple fact that the matchup is going to change. And let's be honest, we've got Aaron Rodgers as our quarterback. This is a guy who has a career 19% target ratio towards tight ends, right? Like it's not as if he targets tight ends heavily ever in his career. And last I checked, we still have Nathaniel Hackett as our freaking offensive coordinator. And people are saying that, well, Bowers may not be like a tight end, but now he's a weapon. Listen, Hackett didn't even know that Breece Hall could play football last year until midseason. So now we're going to throw in a
He didn't know that
weapon
Micah Parsons
into
was
the mix.
fast. Remember that? He didn't know.
Right, remember that part?
Parsons was
Like,
I didn't know. I know.
For me, it's ridiculous, man. And again, I understand that there's people excited because they want to put as many weapons around Aaron Rodgers as possible. My take is if we got a chance at Rome, which I think is feasible, you take him. I still believe the move should be offensive tackle. I'm very, very worried about Tyron Smith's longevity. And I don't want to see the likes of a Carter Warren or a Max Mitchell coming in there to protect our freaking Hall of Fame quarterback. I kind of want to see Aaron Rodgers like right side up. And I believe Aaron Rodgers, if he's protected and has time, he can make freaking Conklin a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. He can go ahead and elevate the bum Alan Lazard into a serviceable wide receiver 3. Like with the addition of Mike Williams now and freaking Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers has better quality targets in terms of collectively, because Devontae Adams was a different beast, collectively at the same time than he's ever had in his career. Like, I like where the offense is looking at right now. I mean, I would love to add another wide receiver definitively. If not in the first round, then I'm okay with waiting to the third. There's a lot of wide receivers this year, man. This draft class is deep. But no, I am definitely no on Team Bowers. He's like the 5th best option for me in terms of what you could possibly do with the 10th overall pick, and that's before trading back.
Yeah,
Man,
I think
next year on One Jets Drive, I want an episode on Alan Lazard. And it's titled Elevate the Bum.
Elevate the bum.
Elevate the bum. That is the quote I'm taking from the show.
Yeah. Oh man, it's tough. I can't believe we gave him the 2-year guarantee. What was crazy when Robert Saleh came out halfway through the year and he was like, "Well, he'll be here another 18 months." Like he knew right when they could cut him. And I think he was in the doghouse a little bit last year when he got benched for a UDFA. I don't know. I think they were not super thrilled with his performance and maybe how like cavalier he was with the soccer ball and all that stuff. But oh man, no Bowers at 10. All right, so who's the so would Odunze be your number one guy to go get then?
My number one guy to go get is going to be Fashanu if he happens to fall to that position. I mean, the dream scenario would be to get a guy like a Joe Alt. Now, if we want to get crazy with it, right, and it's only going to cost us next year's second to move up and get our hands on a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., I will not be angry with that. I will definitively be on board with getting a guy like that. I think in this year's draft, in all actuality, there's only two prospects that are really can't miss prospects. In my opinion, it's Joe Alt and it's MHJ. Those are the only two individuals that I believe wholeheartedly are going to come into this league and be impact players day one, and there's really nothing you can worry about. Like, their floor is NFL caliber starter. Their ceiling is all pro. I really feel good about those two guys. So Joe Alt or MHJ, I'm not mad at it. But at number 10, if we're being realistic, I think Odunze, Fashanu should be there. And I'd prefer to go to Fashanu route, but if they wind up going to Odunze, so be it. I saw a piece by Joe Blewett that kind of broke down Odunze's tape with what Mike Williams does, and I was just like, okay. Well, very similar. And he was talking about how it'd be a little bit redundant. But in my opinion, we only got, Mike for a year.
I'll take two Mike Williams though.
I'll take two Mike. Exactly. I was like,
Garrett in the slot.
I'll take two Mikes all day.
Could be worse.
Put Garrett in the slot. Exactly.
One drop in 90 catch attempts. Yeah, I'll take two of those guys.
100%.
Odunze too. Odunze has the best
short
hands in
hands.
the class.
Yep.
He's not as explosive as nobody's explosive as Neighbors, and he's not as good of a route runner as Harrison Jr. But Odunze, like he reminds me of Hopkins, where he's just gonna win with catch radius and just never dropping the freaking ball. Yeah, man, I think Bowers to me is a trade down candidate. Whenever somebody is trying to sell me Brock Bowers, I feel like I'm being sold like cryptocurrency. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I know you're smarter than me. It's fine. I'm just scared of it. I don't know. Like, I'll buy a little bit, but then I take it back because I don't know. So trade down only for me for Brock Bowers.
But wouldn't it be amazing if 4 quarterbacks actually go in the first 9 picks? It would be so good for us and just one defensive player. If that happened, man, we would be.
I think that's realistic. I really think that's realistic.
I mean, to me, JJ McCarthy is like a second round level quarterback, but these teams get
people seem to love him. Yep.
Every single time. I'm telling you, he is going to. If he goes top 4 and then just throwing like a Dallas verse or I didn't say Jared. I mean Jared verse. I meant the other
Jared
one.
verse.
Jared verse, Turner, Terry and Arnold, and man, you just if those are like 5 of the picks, then what's up? Harrison, Alt, Fashanu, and then
Neighbors.
You're guaranteed to get like one of them.
100%.
Right? But I would like to see Bowers go because I don't even want the temptation.
Same here. I hope the Chargers take him or something. I just want him away from the. I don't want Joe Douglas having to think about it. I don't want that to be.
I don't think they would do it, man.
I don't think they would either. I don't. But
although they were going to take. Remember last year when they showed the draft room, they said the 3 guys they were considering were Michael Mayer, McDonald, and the tackle that went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude, as much as we were bummed about the Will McDonald pick, I'm glad they didn't take Michael Mayer.
I'd have been salty about that. Now you're right. It could have been worse. It literally could have been worse.
Yeah, they could have kept that clip to themselves, man. Good Lord.
I still think Mayer's going to be good. I just don't think he was really utilized all that much last year. But we'll see what happens. It is one. But again, these first round tight ends, how often do they hit?
They don't, man. It's rare.
I'm still waiting for Kyle Pitts to turn to the next Tony Gonzalez.
That's what we were told. We were told that Kyle Pitts was can't miss. He was going to be generational.
Well, they compared him to Megatron.
Remember,
with his measurables.
Here's how good Kyle Pitts was in college. He got Kyle Trask drafted.
That's also amazing.
True. Yeah,
that says a lot.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm still not 100% selling my Kyle Pitts stock until I see him with Kirk Cousins and a new coach.
That's fair.
I still think there's something in there. I like it what Atlanta's doing, man. I think they got a fun team.
Bijan, Mooney, Drake London, Kyle Pitts,
and they have a good offensive line.
They got a good offensive line too. Yeah.
They put a lot of money in it. Better be good. So.
And they play in the NFC South, so that always helps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, think about it, the Jets at pick 10. They're going to have it. They're going to have the choice between most likely, I think, either the 3rd best receiver in Odunze, the 2nd best tackle in Fashanu, or Bowers. Like they're probably gonna at least 2 of those 3 guys will probably be there.
Yep, 100%.
Likely
at pick 10.
Yep.
Because I feel like Fashanu, people are not. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I don't,
Hand
for a
size?
while it was like him and Alt were 1A and 1B, and now I'm seeing mocks where he's like at 18 and stuff. I don't
Yeah,
know
he's
what's-
dropping to the bottom of the first.
Like all of a sudden, his hands are like 2 inches smaller than everybody else's.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you not already know his hand size? This is
Look, Donald
late
Trump
breaking
became
news.
president, and he
I mean,
had tiny
These
hands.
scouts,
all right?
it's like their
Yeah,
job. to
so
know that
anything can
they
happen.
Shrunk overnight. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like the media catching up to what scouts have always felt, or if people are just doing like over paralysis by analysis. But because Fashanu was a great prospect the year before too.
But yep, 100%.
He was. People were saying
Back-to-back
heading
years.
into the year he's going to be the top tackle. So I don't know. I think some people, it's kind of like when people with like Caleb Williams, they over whatever, they have too much time to think about it.
But Gunny, I think you said something that's absolutely true. You mentioned that Harrison and Alt had the highest floors, that all-pro ceiling. I felt the same way about Sauce Gardner back then. And I'm like, you know what? Not the cornerback is our biggest need, but this is the no doubt player that we might have a chance to get our hands on. And I think, and that's one of the things. The draft is not always about taking your worst position and making it good. Sometimes it's making a good position great. And
Yep.
Joe Douglas is willing to do that. So I think a lot of times that's what we're trying to take the floor and make it okay. Sometimes you just go from okay and make it great.
Yep.
So that's just something to keep in mind when we get too tied up. I want this position at this pick. I want this position at that pick. That's not the way these guys work. Not
No.
the good ones anyway. So
No,
point.
so
Very good point.
so take Brock Bowers is what you're saying. What's okay?
No, I don't think. I don't think those words came out of his
how
mouth
many
at all.
spots have you traded down? I'm so worried about it. I got so much grief on Twitter from a certain guy who breaks down film for the Jets. So I don't need to mention him by name. But I said Nathaniel Hackett would never know what to do with a Brock Bowers. And
Was
I
it Glenn
got-
Naughton?
I got chastised for like, that is the ultimate loser fan mentality. I'm like, it's true. He won't know. He didn't know what to do with Brees Hall. Why am I supposed to think that he's not going to line Brock Bowers in as a sixth blocker?
They'd probably have Kenny Yeboah out there ahead of him because Kenny Yeboah knows the playbook or whatever.
Oh, boy.
They probably resign. They probably bring in Mercedes Lewis and play him over Brock Bowers.
Oh, boy.
It wouldn't even surprise me, bro. Like
No.
you say that
Brendan
jokingly, but
Rodgers?
it really wouldn't surprise me with Nathaniel Hackett at OC.
Brutal. All right, gentlemen. I'm gonna leave it there. These two men both have Jets YouTube channels, though. Watsuke, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me at NY Sports Wicker Media. I did a video this morning on the Jets and some free agents I thought they should look in a signing. Also did a little bit of Mets roster breakdown. So if you're into baseball, look for that. I'll be doing a Mets season preview a little bit later on today. All of a sudden, I got a burst of energy. I feel like doing some recording right about now.
Do it.
But yeah, check me out. And we go live Wednesday night at 10 p.m. So bring your caffeine, bring your energy, and let's have a good time.
Do it, man. Gunny, you I feel like you're uploading still from time to time, but don't see as much from me, but I know you're still on with Green Bean right on Thursdays.
Yeah. So on Thursday nights, I'm with the Thursday Think of It with Green Bean. You can catch me on Monday nights with the battered, not the battered, my bad. With me and Jiggaman Porto and Abby, we're doing the Jets nightcap stream, and then on Tuesday nights now, I've kicked off my own live stream, hanging at the hangar with Gunny. Kicking off at 7:30 p.m. Central. Just started that back up last week. No more Taco Tuesdays with Gunny. That was taking way too much time preparing tacos and stuff and then having to evaluate them. I decided, you know what, I'm going to simplify things a little bit so I can stay more consistent and get in front of the camera. So on Tuesday nights, you'll see me on my channel at New York Jets Situation Report doing hanging at the hangar with Gunny, 7:30 p.m. Central. So we've got a viewers motivated mock draft going on Tuesday night. I'm gonna have Dom C with me analyzing the picks by the viewers that are at the hangar. So if you're not too busy, go ahead and stop by.
Nice. Looking forward to it. All right, gentlemen, we'll have to do this more often. I'll see you guys soon.
You stay on,
All
brother.
right, have a good day, everybody. Good to see you.
Take care, everybody. Go